This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya, from the Fort Hall School of Government. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at some of the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 12th of February 2021, and I am Tuem.
I am CS.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, double pain for City Expressway. In the Standard, 8 versions of Nyachai. And in the Star, why impeaching Ruto is not a walk in the park.
Absolutely. Now, the Star seems to think that the impeachment of Ruto is not a walk in the park. And we disagree. And would like to show you how easy it is to impeach Ruto. Here is how. Now, the handshake team consisting of Gema, Jubilee are about 69 MPs. Uhuru allied nominated MPs are 2. ODM has about 76 MPs. Wiper has 23. Amani has 14. Ford Kenya has 12. And Kanu has about 10 MPs. All this adds up to about 206 MPs. They will vote for the impeachment of Ruto. Now, we will assume that the following MPs will vote against the impeachment of Ruto. MPs from Kalenjin, Maasai, Turkana, and Samburu communities, better known as Kamatusa. Their number is about 58 MPs. Ruto allied Jubilee nominated MPs are 4. Non-Gema and non-Kamatusa Jubilee MPs are 39. In total, they all add up to 101 MPs.
Yeah.
And 3, the floating parties, including the independents, are 42 in number. Now, the first thing that these numbers tell us is that if the UHURU-Raila coalition wants to move a motion to impeach the deputy president, they have the numbers to meet the 1/3 threshold.
Wow.
In fact, they are in excess by 19 members. They need 116 and they have 206 MPs. For the motion to pass the National Assembly, it requires 233 votes to proceed to Senate. With 206 members, the UHURU-Raila coalition will be short by about 27 members. But this 27 can be drawn from the floating and non-aligned groups, which are the independents, who are 42 in number. Now, this scenario, however, may be flawed if we were to factor in all local Gema dynamics with regard to William Ruto support. And I want to say this. Let's flip the script. If half of the 69 Gema Jubilee members vote against the Ruto impeachment, the Ruto impeachment, can the impeachment of William Ruto still succeed at the National Assembly? And the answer is yes. And here is how. If 34 MPs or all of the 42 MPs from the floating and independent parties vote yes, that is 1. 2, if half of Gema Jubilee members abstain from voting, and 3, or if an equal number of Kamatusa MPs or Ruto allied MPs abstain or vote for his impeachment. Unlikely, but possible. Okay? Now, let's go to the Senate, where the fate of the impeachment will be decided. According to the Constitution, if at least 2/3 of all the members of the Senate, that is about 45 members, vote to uphold the impeachment charge, the deputy president shall cease to hold office. Now, to attain 2/3, the senators required for impeachment will be sought from 1, Gema Jubilee senators and allied nominated senators who add up to 11. All ODM senators who add up to 20. Wiper and Kanu senators who add up Wiper and Kanu senators, who are 3, totaling up 6 in number. Non-aligned Jubilee senators who are not from the Gema community, no allies of the deputy president, and these guys come up to 13 senators. This add up all of them to 50 senators, which exceeds the number required by 5. All right. Now, in sum, impeachment at the Senate stage will be less problematic. After all, if Uhuru and Raila allies impeached Waitito and Sonko, despite Ruto allied senators voting against both impeachments, what would Ruto do differently to stop his own impeachment? In our view, Ruto's goose is cooked.
It's cooked. Well, it's interesting because the president's remarks today are, that Ruto should do the noble thing and asks him to resign. Is that just a polite way of saying, before we get to impeachment,
look, if
you have a chance?
If the president has already told you to resign, he has already thought about your impeachment.
Well, we have a 3-part criteria that we will use to break down those headlines. We'll ask ourselves, is it topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? Is it thoughtful or just plain lazy? According to 2M, impeaching him will be a walk in the park for National Assembly.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
For as long as you have a competent deep state.
Why must we rely on the deep state? Can I toss this down on that account?
Yes.
There we go. Let's move to the Daily Nation.
Daily Nation, double pain for City Expressway. Now, the Nation is talking about the expressway that will stretch all the way from AIC, Mlolongo, all the way to the James Gishuru Road, ABC Junction on Wayaki Way. And it's basically highlighting that taxpayers will foot the bill for relocating utilities and compensating people who will be displaced along the way, and then cough up more cash each time they use a 27-kilometer road.
Yes.
Now, I take issue with this article because we have a case of lazy reporting here, and there's been a lot of lazy reporting around this issue, which is unfortunate because there's an opportunity being missed here to sensitize and inform the public on not just the benefits, but also the rationale of public-private partnership in investing in necessary public utilities. So in addressing this issue, I'd like to quote from a research paper on public management and governance that our very own JM did in 2013, which focused on the complex nature of funding and outsourcing in transport infrastructure within PPPs.
Yes.
Now, at the risk of belaboring the obvious, allow me to say, unfortunately, public infrastructure cannot fall like manna from heaven. There is need for investment, and that involves money. Public-private partnerships allow you to make necessary investments without digging too deep into the public purse. So firstly, in defining public-private partnerships, the paper that JM did borrowed a definition from the OECD, which defined PPPs as an agreement between the government and one or more private partners, which may include the operators and financiers. And so according to this agreement, the private partners deliver the service in such a manner that the service delivery objectives of the government are aligned with the profit objectives of the private partners. What JM goes on to tell us in his paper is that such partnerships are often undertaken with a view to easing fiscal constraints on infrastructure investment while increasing efficiency in delivery of the construction, maintenance, and operation of the infrastructure projects. JM goes on to point out that the benefit government derives from PPP is that it can secure private financing to support increased infrastructure investment without immediately adding to government borrowing and debt. The article in The Nation conveniently also left out some of the key benefits that stand to be gained and why the investment is being done to begin with. Now, the socio-economic justification for upgrading the city traffic artery through UHURU Highway is mainly justified by how much it will save the economy, especially if we consider the fact that Nairobi alone is responsible for a significant portion of the country's GDP.
Absolutely.
And traffic congestion on our major roads bleeds the economy. A lot of time that can never be recovered is wasted in traffic, unfortunately. Add to this other factors such as the fact that foreign exchange is wasted as imported fuel is wastefully burned by idling vehicles, and incremental carbon dioxide also increases emissions which impact the environment. Furthermore, we must also realize that Nairobi is one of the main gateways to the region and sub-Saharan Africa in general. There's therefore a huge reputational and opportunity cost to the country when investors and tourists fly in and are stranded in traffic for hours in gridlocks. Quite frankly, this project will be a major value addition to the traffic decongestion program by government, alongside the eastern, western, northern, and southern bypasses, together with other link roads. And you know, guys, I also don't think that people realize that the president has overseen the building of 1,000 kilometers of roads on average per year since he came into office.
Yes.
And the previous 3 administration combined
Yes.
did an average of 200 km of roads per year.
Yes.
Basically, he has done 5 times what the last 3 governments put together did.
Yeah. I like that.
CS, I completely agree. And you see, this country, it's $100 billion economy, 6th largest economy in Africa. It's a financial hub of Eastern Central Africa. It's the technological hub of Eastern Central Africa. We have relied on a dual carriageway that has 2 lanes from all the way from Lolongo to Kikuyu for about 40-something years, and someone tells us we should not upgrade to a road that's about 8 lanes. That person is very thick. And by the way, it's poverty of the mind. This is a poverty mindset the media has in this country. And the nation should stop picking village writers from I don't know what part of the world to write these stories.
On that note, I guess we're tossing the Daily Nation
very far.
There we go. Moving on to the Standard, where we're told that there are 8 versions of Nyachai. Ahead of his burial on Monday, there was a memorial service. To be fair, I only counted about 3 versions of him. They say Nyachai, the belt-wielding father, Nyachai, the stalwart supporter of government, who sort of told Moi, as he was about to succeed Jomo Kenyatta, to grow a pair and, take on the challenge.
Yes.
And then also Nyachai, the benevolent man, the man who educated hundreds, if not more, of youth and who owe where they are in life, including one CS Matiang'i, for education, for opportunities. He basically has been a model citizen for this country. And so a lot of people pay tribute. That is the long and short of it. It's interesting. I thought Matiang'i, this would be his moment. This is his little coronation in the making, perhaps.
He's probably taking it.
So who do we give our winning?
Nobody.
No winning headlines today, unfortunately. On to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a 3-part criteria. We ask ourselves, is it humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic? And is it effective or just plain lazy?
You have Ndula, and that is a drawing of helicopters. And they're also flying helicopters. And down there is snail caricatured as COVID vaccine. And you can say BBI report, wheelbarrow, the normal thing. I think they're trying to tell us it's campaign season and here we don't have a COVID vaccine.
And the priority seems to be the wheelbarrows versus the vaccine. I like it though.
I think it's right.
I like it.
Standard. Gado, you have caricature of Raila Odinga as a patient, and he is being seen as by the doctor, and the doctor is saying it shows inconsistency, incoherency, disorderlies, unstable behavior, inflammation, weakness, and the supporting cell count is way down.
Ooh.
That's a BBI report.
Status report.
Status report.
I don't expect anything else from Gado other than a pessimistic cartoon when it comes to government matters.
That's a rubbish cartoon as well. And now, last one, Ozone, the star. It's a caricature of Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga giving car grants there, and the prize that Raila is holding is BBI. And Ozone, unfortunately, has caricatured MCAs as pigs. And I think it's Valentine's season, right?
It is.
They're being wooed by Prados and everything. And we asked yesterday, CS, what is wrong with a $5 billion shilling incentive for them to pass BBI?
Well, guys, so we're saying no winning cartoon. I quite like the Nation.
No.
With the wheelbarrows flying down?
No.
Yes, have my back here.
Wheelbarrow good, but they're also saying here BBI is also coming from the sky. What are they trying to tell us?
We can't.
So we're tossing all the cartoons.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, there you have it. No winning headline, no winning cartoon.
Now, our final thought. It is inspired by a book entitled Why We Love the Nature and Chemistry of Romantic Love by Helen Fisher.
I've loved this week, but before we get into that book, can I give a summary of the week?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so on Tuesday we looked at the book The All or Nothing Marriage, How the Best Marriages Work by Eli J. Finkel. The book begins by questioning whether marriages are worse or better than they used to be. The author divides the argument into 2 camps, those that believe that marriage has weakened and those that believe that though marriage has experienced disruptive changes, those developments are a reflection that the institution has evolved. The author uses findings from literature on marriage to offer a third argument. He discovered that marriage hasn't become worse or better than it used to, but rather it's a combination of both. Though the rate of failed marriages is higher, the marriages of today are actually stronger. On Wednesday, we reviewed a book called The Mathematics of Love, Patterns, Proofs, and the Search for the Ultimate Equation by Hannah Fry. In the book, the author takes us through a number of themes, from the odds of finding your soulmate, to how game theory reveals the best strategy to pick up somebody at a bar, to the equation that explains how conversation patterns show lasting relationships. The author uses maths, which is ultimately the study of patterns, to illustrate how love, like most of life, is also full of patterns. And on Thursday, we looked at Dataclysm, Who We Are When We Think No One Is Looking by Christian Rudder. And the book tells us how online dating has become such a big business. And it also offers multiple points of gathering data about human behavior. And he argues that the most reliable indicators of future happiness are having the same type of response to some questions. So for instance, we ask, do you like scary movies, or have you traveled alone to another country? And today we are looking at Why We Love, the Nature and Chemistry of Romantic Love. And it's written in 2004 by a lady called Helen Fisher, who's an American anthropologist and is a human behavior researcher and a self-help author. So Why We Love delivers a scientific explanation for love. It shows how it developed historically and has gone on to evolve. It tells us that we're all what we're attracted to, where we differ. It gives you actionable advice on how to deal with both the exciting, successful romances in your life, as well as how to deal with the inevitable fallout. Basically, she looks at how our feelings of romance, sexual urge, and connection are all the outcome of our brains. So for years, people have thought about what has caused love, and some people have believed that it was a deeply sort of spiritual occurrence, but science has confirmed that actually it is the outcome of chemicals of the brain. And specifically, the feeling of love is brought on by three main neurotransmitters. Dopamine is the main one, norepinephrine, and serotonin. And so one of the main ones she talks about is dopamine. And she says dopamine is such a strong neurotransmitter that it is actually in charge of our entire mood. It affects our concentration, our motivation, our addiction. And these are all significant features of being in love, too. Did you know this? And so researchers have revealed that if you love someone or the person you love, it sometimes feels like you're addicted to taking some kind of drug. You're on some kind of high. And dopamine does this. It overwhelms your brain. It supplies you with a feeling of pleasure that you can't wait to relive. That's why you always find that when you're in love, you can't wait to see the other person. And it's just like she says, how drug addicts are when it comes to drugs. She leaves us with three main lessons. One, love is a chemical thing, mostly based on three hormones, the ones I've just mentioned. Two, we are all attracted to mystery, symmetry, and difference. And three, you have your own unique love map, which may help you find your ideal partner. What did you guys like?
I think one of the benefits of reading all these books this week about love is that they help me remember that Valentine's is on Sunday.
Yes, don't
so
forget.
I need to remember to buy flowers.
There you go. Simple.
Now, I'd like to start with a quote by Sir Henry Fink, who was Queen Victoria's behavioral scientist. He said, "Love is such a tissue of paradoxes and exists in such a variety of forms and shades that you may say almost anything about it that you please, and it is likely to be correct." Now, when Sir Henry said that, he may not have anticipated that several decades later, Dr. Helen Fisher would attempt to demonstrate that romantic love displays all the classic characteristics of chemical addiction.
Imagine.
Now, Dr. Fisher, as GK said, basically tells us that romantic love is inherently a neurochemical addiction, quite similar to addictions to alcohol, tobacco, and methamphetamines. And the similarities both in terms of behavior as well as in terms of the effect that love has as an addiction on the brain's neurological pathways. To be honest, the thought of reducing my entire understanding of romantic love to biochemical reactions and the brain's neurological pathways is, quite frankly, a little depressing. But maybe that's because I'm more partial to the characteristics of love that St. Paul outlined in his first letter to the Christians in Corinth. And it also happens to be one of my favorite passages of Scripture, partly because it goes a long way in making a case for love as the supreme ethic. But also, maybe my preference is influenced by the fact that I would pick philosophy over chemistry any day and twice on Sunday. That said, I'd like to share with you a passage from the book, which I found quite poetic amidst all the talk of dopamine and neurological pathways. Yeah. The passage is from chapter 4 of the book, where Dr. Fisher writes like she had come from listening to Bensol's Pediwa Mapenzi. She says, love is a harmony, as Shakespeare wrote. Yeah. Sometimes even a cacophony of sensations, exuberance, tenderness, compassion, possessiveness, rapture, adoration, longing, despair. Romance is a kaleidoscopic pattern of shifting needs and feelings, all tethered to a celestial being on whose slightest word or smile one dangles, spinning with hope and joy and craving. Complexity, thy name is love.
Goodness.
Wow. I love that.
No, I never thought I'd be giving people advice on how to
Pediwa
recover.
Mapenzi.
Yes, Pediwa Mapenzi. I never thought I'd be giving people advice on how to recover from a breakup or a love affair or a relationship. Well, here I am doing just that. And this is her advice. And she says that if you wish to recover, you must expunge all traces of the thief who stole your heart. Meditate, develop a few mantras and silently repeat them. Something positive about yourself and your future is best, even if it's not true. Something like, I love being myself with a soulmate of my own. Pick something that boosts your self-esteem and project your mind out of the failed relationship and toward one that will succeed. And when you can't stop thinking about him or her, dwell on their negative traits. Write down their faults and carry the list in your purse or pocket. You might also try fantasizing. Picture yourself walking arm in arm with someone who adores you and someone you cherish. The perfect partner. Make it up and make it good. Someone is camping in your brain. You must throw the scoundrel out.
I trust you to pick that part out of your mind.
I think it's good advice for quite a few people on Sunday.
No, the FIFA. Oh, man. All right.
Valentine's is coming.
So on the day, well, unfortunately, we don't have any winning cartoons or winning headlines, but good advice from 2M there. I want to leave you with also some advice, right? For love, true love.
Yeah.
Commit, listen actively to your partner. Ask questions, give answers, appreciate, stay attractive, keep growing intellectually. Include her, give him privacy, be honest and trustworthy. Tell your mate what you need. Accept his or her shortcomings, mind your manners, exercise your sense of humor, respect him, respect her, compromise, argue constructively, never threaten to depart, forget the past, and don't assume the relationship will last forever, but build it one day at a time and never give up. So happy Valentine's Day.
I think that's also good advice for the DP.
What?
And there you have it. Happy Valentine's to you all. Have a good weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Please remember to hit like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us on TV. We're on GoTV, Thank Rita and Stuff.